He was 72 when it happened. Alone in his bedroom, he thought it was just another quiet morning, just another harmless routine. But within minutes, his chest was pounding, his vision blurred, and he collapsed on the floor. By the time help arrived, it was too late. What ended his life wasn't the act itself, it was the way and the moment he chose to do it. My name is Dr. James. I am a board-certified urologist, and for over 3 decades I have dedicated my life to helping men understand their bodies, their health, and the delicate connection between aging, sexuality, and vitality. I have listened to thousands of men share the struggles they never dared to say out loud. And here is the truth, few will tell you. Masturbation is not the problem. In fact, done right, it can support your health. But there are 4 specific mistakes, especially when done in the morning, that silently attack your circulation, your nerves, and even your heart. That is why I am here today. Because if you are over 60, you deserve to know how to protect your body while still honoring your needs. I will walk you through each of these hidden dangers and show you how to avoid them. And stay with me, because in the end, I will reveal the exact time of day when self-pleasure doesn't just become safe, it actually strengthens your health and restores your energy. Before we get started, I'd love for you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a health message made to keep you strong. And if this speaks to you, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I know how to serve you better. Let's begin with the first mistake, one that many older men make without even thinking about it. It happens in those early minutes after waking when the body is still empty and dehydrated. What feels like a harmless release can quietly place sudden and dangerous stress on your heart. Mistake number 1, rushing it on an empty stomach and a dehydrated body. Too many men wake up in the morning and fall into the same quiet habit. The house is still, the sun is just beginning to rise, and without a sip of water, without a single stretch, without even the thought of breakfast, they go straight into release. It feels routine, almost comforting. But for a body over 60, this is not harmless. It is a silent ambush. After hours of rest, your circulation slows, your blood sugar is low, and your entire system is dehydrated. In that fragile state, the sudden demand of arousal forces the heart to race, blood vessels to tighten, and blood to rush downward at the very moment your brain and heart still need it most. For some men, the result is dizziness or weakness. For others, it can mean fainting, a dangerous drop in blood pressure, or even a cardiac event that strikes without warning. I remember a patient who thought he was having a panic attack after climax, only to discover it was a mini-stroke, a terrifying reminder of how unforgiving the morning can be. But it does not have to be this way. The body is resilient when treated with care. A single glass of water, a light stretch, a small bite to nourish the blood, these simple acts prepare the heart and mind for any stress, even the stress of pleasure. Respect for your body in those first moments of the day can mean the difference between strength and collapse. Most men never make this connection, but once you do, it changes everything. And if this first mistake surprises you, wait until you hear the second. Because what many men reach for in the morning isn't food or water at all. It's their phone. And that habit carries a danger even more hidden, one that doesn't just threaten your body, but quietly rewires your brain. Mistake number 2, using porn as a morning stimulus every day. For many men, the first thing they touch in the morning isn't a glass of water or the hand of a loved one, it's their phone. Before their feet even hit the floor, they begin scrolling, searching for an image or video to spark desire. At first, it feels like a harmless ritual, a way to feel alive and energized. But for a man over 60, this habit carries consequences far more damaging than most ever imagine. The aging brain is more sensitive, especially in its dopamine pathways, the very system that drives motivation, reward, and intimacy. Flooding it every morning with intense artificial stimulation doesn't just light it up for a moment, it overwhelms it. Over time, real intimacy begins to lose its spark. The warmth of a partner's touch feels muted, the affection of someone who loves you doesn't ignite the same fire, and the mind grows restless, always chasing novelty that never truly satisfies. I've had men sit across from me, their voices heavy with shame, admitting they could no longer respond to their wives. Not because love had faded, but because their brains had been rewired by pixels and screens. What started as a morning habit became a silent thief of connection, stealing confidence, closeness, and the ability to feel deeply alive with another human being. This is not about judgment, it is about awareness. What you choose to feed your brain in those first moments of the day shapes how you will feel for the rest of it. Replacing those pixels with presence, with calm, with patience, can restore what years of overstimulation have eroded. And if you think what you see on a screen is the only danger, think again. Because the very way you sit, the posture you hold, and the tension you carry during those private moments may be quietly cutting off your circulation. And that is where the next mistake begins. Mistake number 3, masturbating in a tensed or seated posture that cuts off blood flow. It may seem like a small detail, something too insignificant to matter, but the way you position your body during self-pleasure can quietly wear down your health over the years. I remember a proud 74-year-old patient who admitted he always did the same thing. He would sit on the edge of his bed each morning, lean forward, tighten his thighs, and rush through the act. To him, it was simply habit, but when I asked how he felt afterward, his voice grew quiet. He told me he felt numb, slower to respond, not quite the same as before. He thought it was just the reality of aging. The truth was far more troubling. When you hunch forward, squeeze your thighs, and create tension in your pelvic floor, you are putting constant pressure on the very arteries and nerves that carry blood and sensation to your most vital areas. The pudendal nerve, the internal iliac arteries, these are the lifelines of sexual health, and they do not tolerate years of compression without consequence. At first, it shows up as tingling, as a faint loss of sensitivity, as climax taking longer than it used to. But over time, this repeated strain can turn into chronic numbness, weaker erections, and a slow decline that many men mistake for nothing more than getting older. Yet the body responds quickly when treated with respect. Lying back, opening your hips, supporting your pelvis. These small changes allow blood to flow, oxygen to circulate, nerves to recover. Within weeks, sensation begins to return, arousal feels more natural, and connection to pleasure deepens. But as dangerous as physical strain can be, there is something even more destructive, something invisible that works from within. It is not about posture or blood flow at all. It is about the heavy weight of guilt and shame and the way those emotions quietly poison your hormones, your memory, and your heart. Mistake number 4. Guilt and shame that spike cortisol. This final mistake is the most hidden of them all, yet it can be the most damaging. For many older men, the act of self-pleasure is not what harms them. It is the silence that follows. The moment of release is often quickly replaced by a wave of guilt, a sense of shame, or a whispering thought that says, "You shouldn't have." Some of this comes from years of cultural or religious beliefs, some from the loneliness of waking up alone and trying to feel something, anything, to break the emptiness of another long morning. What most men do not realize is that these emotions are not just feelings, they are chemical triggers. That guilt sends a surge of cortisol rushing through your system. Cortisol is the body's stress hormone, and when it strikes first thing in the morning, it does more harm than you might imagine. It suppresses testosterone, leaving you with less drive and vitality. It raises blood pressure, putting strain on a heart already working harder with age. It weakens the immune system, making you more vulnerable to illness. And it clouds memory, feeding the brain fog and fatigue so many men assume are just part of growing older. I have met men who believed they were losing their edge, who feared their bodies were betraying them, when in reality it was the weight of shame silently dragging them down. But the body listens closely to what the mind believes. When you give yourself permission to feel human, when you replace judgment with kindness, your biology responds. Hormones rebalance, tension eases, and health begins to restore itself. And this is where the story changes. Because the truth is, self-pleasure can be safe, even healing, when done at the right time of day. In fact, there is one window when your body is naturally primed for connection, recovery, and strength, And in the conclusion, I will reveal exactly when that is. Conclusion: reclaiming intimacy, respecting the body. As we come to the end, I want you to pause and reflect on what we have uncovered together. 4 mistakes that may seem small, even harmless, but for men over 60, they carry consequences that reach deeper than most ever realize. Rushing on an empty stomach and a dehydrated body places sudden stress on the heart, leaving circulation and blood pressure in a fragile state. Using porn as your morning spark overwhelms the brain's dopamine system and slowly robs you of the ability to connect with real intimacy. Sitting tense, hunched, or cramped cuts off the very blood and oxygen your body needs to keep pleasure alive, leading to numbness, dysfunction, and the quiet erosion of confidence. And perhaps most dangerous of all, guilt and shame send cortisol flooding through your system, weakening hormones, memory, and vitality at the exact moment you need them most. These are not mistakes of weakness. They are habits formed in silence, carried for years without knowing the damage they create. But the truth is, your body is resilient. With awareness, even the smallest changes, drinking water before the act, stretching your body, shifting your posture, or simply allowing yourself to feel peace instead of shame, can transform the way you experience intimacy in your later years. And timing matters. The morning carries risk, but the late afternoon to early evening gives you a window where the body is hydrated, the heart steady, the hormones balanced, and the mind calm. In that moment, self-pleasure can stop being harm and start being healing. Remember this above all: you are not broken. You are not alone. The desire to feel alive never disappears. It only needs respect and care to shine again. Hold on to that truth and let it guide you forward into a healthier, more confident chapter of your life.